Good morning, welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project, the self-therapeutic multimedia project for me to solve the problems and challenges in my life, as well as a self-improvement process for me to reach the goals and heights that I've set for myself. This is the first of two installments today. The two live streams that we have set forward for today are continuation. Again, what you see in the title, what you see is what you get. Take a look around the room, and in the title you'll find it's a layout, a little bit of logistics, a lot of logistics, and continuation. Like I said, if you check out my previous live stream for the past at least 2 weeks, we are still going on trying to manage all the domains of life, such as finance, business, employment, healthcare, disease, caregivers, relationships, volunteering, even material items such as groceries and devices, electronics, garbage, food packaging, all that kind of stuff. We're taking care of everything that's come together in this very messy 3 months of hell. And that's the way I've been describing this. This is part of the sub-series BDMP. If you take a look in the title, it's a little play on words if you know, like BDSM. But really BDMP stands for actually the basics. Decontamination, purification, and maintenance, and the basics. So when it comes to life, just putting food on the table, keeping a roof over your head, having some shelter, and making sure that you get enough just sleep and activity along the day to keep yourself up and running. Because what's happened, of course, as I've mentioned, this is basically a project for me to manage the fact that there are over about 150 tasks per week that I have to try and get done. Over the past 3 months, everything has just come together in some sort of crisis situation. Everything has been so much anxiety and so much stress. So with that being said, that's what we're going to cover today in the first live stream, just a kind of a layout. We're going to continue with the layout, that I went off with yesterday morning when I was going about, and there are maybe in the room I broke it down to about seven different regions, from region A to G. And if I stand up and get moving and about, G was at the bed, A is in this sort of office setting. So just to see, A, B, C is the closet, D is this sort of whole area. I had to break it down and splinter into 1, 2, 3, 4, D1, D2, 3, and 4, because there's been so much material here that I can't cover all at once. And then of course E, F, and G. So E at the back, F right here, the shelving unit, and G for the bed. And so that's actually how we splintered the room according into about roughly 7 to 10 different areas. Now, of course, in each area has maybe a plethora of different things, some stuff from my workplace. For example, if we take a look at D1 right here, we have some workplace materials, we have some garbage here at the back, we have some papers I use for safety, for COVID-19 put some masks, and then of course we have some business products here, as well as health-related material that I'm supposed to actually use myself, as well as give to one of my clients who happens to be a direct relative as well. And so that's just, for example, in D1, and that's what we cover. I think we left off about at this region actually. So we're just moving on and continuing from where we left off yesterday, which was very hectic in the morning. Of course, I did have to go to work, and I was late for work by almost 2 hours. It was a very unhappy, upsetting, disappointing day, because I really did feel I had let down all my colleagues at my workplace. And again, I work for this company that manufactures protective equipment and workplace equipment, such as just because of COVID-19, our business is booming. But even before then, that's just the kind of stuff that we manufactured. And so at the time, I was very disappointed yesterday for about, I showed up for about 6 out of 8 hours, and they really needed me to be there. With that being said, the messy part of my employment related stuff is all over because of year-end inventory finishing this week. And so November 30, okay, of course, rolling into December 2nd, that's about the time we finished inventory. And I let down a lot of people. I let down even the owners of my business, of my workplace and my employment. And I'm expecting to be fired, but they just never seem to do it. And so I'm going to take the initiative and resign myself in the coming months, because I know that this is just very difficult for them to have to cope with me. With that being said, though, I have too many obligations or priorities, and we're just going to continue working off of that. So we were at D1 right here, and that's sort of where we left off, D1, 2, and 3. You can see on the floor all this kind of stuff. What we covered yesterday in G, we had this stuff here. That's all, actually, most of it is cleaned up. I had a lot of laundry. I talked about how I was coordinating the logistics of getting that in the closet so that when I come back from work, it's all ready with the clothes hangers. I had to wash all the sheets, wash everything. For 6 months, they have not been washed. And that made things very difficult for me because I didn't have the space to put any of the clothing. I was talking about yesterday as well in region E right here with the shelving unit. We have all this equipment, winter equipment. Obviously, I'm in Canada right here. We have 1, 2, 3. We have these straps here. We have this headband. I have this this cap I bought from Dollarama that I don't really use right now because it's getting colder. But I do have, of course, some makeshift materials to cover my face, as well as a back support belt, and a whole bunch of other workplace-related materials there that I said I have to sort out. Particularly this piece of garbage over here. It's not garbage, but it's packaging for the back support belt, and I need to really put that away. At the very back, there's another cap. Right, I talked about this yesterday, actually previous live stream, maybe 2-3 days ago. Also, I had to put that inside that bag. So this cap and this cap, kind of like spring-related material, right? Autumn. So I need to put it back in here since it's getting cold now and there's no point for me to keep it out. And so that's that, of course. And then we don't have to touch anything at the back here because most of the stuff in region E is largely stuff that is just for storage. Now I had to pull out some garbage there, and now you can see this is the main portion where we left off yesterday. I was incredibly disappointed in myself that I wasn't able to get through everything because I had to go to work, and this is just way too much to cover in that time. I had 2 live streams yesterday, and again, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, where you're coming from, and I just could not cover everything. It was so disappointing for me, given that I was already late for work and I still could not cover everything in this project, let alone the side business that I'm running. So business, employment, project, everything. So with that being said, we're just going to continue from that. I think at the very beginning of this live stream, I covered D1 in a pretty adequate fashion. I do have to keep this here later today because I'll get to that in a second. I have to clip my nails and stuff like that. But up here, I think this is where we kind of left off. I was talking about actually down here yesterday how I got to splinter all the products. So you can see there are boxes like that. You have bags, and then you have paperwork. You also have products within it. So I have to sort out the products, take the products, extract them, and group them all together and get them organized. I have to take the box packaging. It's kind of like shipping and receiving, right? If you work in a warehouse, you run on your own business, you know what I'm talking about. All the packaging has to get sorted out. All the bags have to sort out. All the invoices in here, I have to sort out as well. I had to take a screenshot, scan them, upload them onto, some sort of cloud drive, or at least on a hard drive. That's more secure, actually. That's the best way to do it. Also, of course, at the same time, I have to do all the budgeting. How much does it all cost? I have to organize, maybe 8 to 10 to 15 different client orders, of course, all that kind of stuff as well. And importantly, actually, one of the things I want to cover in the second live stream today is this right here. This bag actually has products for my cousin. And again, molecular research, cellular nutrition and molecular research. That's kind of my field, biomedical science. That was my what I used to take when I was in university. So this is something I actually have to desperately cover in the next live stream. This is something that I have to give to my cousin next week. And so that's an urgent, high priority item right there. So going back here, okay, I've separated that. I know what I have to get done. Another thing that I really have to get done in the next live stream as well, all this trash and garbage here. So like I said, employment, business, but there's also some basic things, right? Sleep schedule, food, grocery items. So all of this mess, believe it or not, if you take a look just 2 live streams ago, was spread all across the room. There was like food packaging all over, all that fucking shit was all up here and down here on the table, a huge mess. It still looks like a mess, but it was much worse than this beforehand. So everything, just imagine 300 things coming all together at the same time in 1 week. You have 100 hours. And that's what the name of one of the sub-series, right? 1,000 days till death. Take care of everything. It's a real challenge of a game that life is. So that being said, I'm going to get to that when in the second live stream, basically I've sorted everything out. So we're going to start here. okay, because that's the closest thing we have to where we left off yesterday. And what do we have to cover? So I was talking about that cap over there. I pulled off from that cap some garbage here, so we're just diving into it. Okay, we have about 4 minutes left in this live stream after the introduction, as well as a brief recap from yesterday. So we have some garbage here. This is some stuff, some tags, some tags I pulled off from that French cap. We have some class 1 items, so class 1, class 2, and class 4. Class 1 items are things I purchased with my own hard-earned money. Class 2 being things for my caregivers, or I'm the caregiver now. They're severely ill right now, and I have to take care of them. But at the time, of course, you know, they were my guardians, okay? And so I have some stuff here that actually I'm not supposed to eat from them, but I did. And then, of course, we also have some gift items from my colleagues and my fellow business partners, as well as volunteers. This is something that is a gift from one of my colleagues. And applesauce, we have some banana cake, and basically we have some bologna. So all this kind of shit, and also this little tin can for coconut tarts. So if you're, I don't know, if you're Chinese, you know, egg tarts, coconut tarts, that kind of stuff. So what I have to do is I have to package all this and then combine it with that, so that when I go out later today for grocery, I can dump into the receptacle, into the garbage can, into the recycling bin, whatever, get it all sorted out. So I'll do that after the stream ends. And then underneath, you can see there's also a pile of paperwork under here. And I can't cover in too much detail because it's all piled up above each other. But there's some mail. This was almost maybe a week. like 2-3 months ago. And then we also have all these sheets of paper here that really I don't think I can cover in today's live stream. I'll have to do it maybe tomorrow morning. But you can believe me when I say that it's all garbage largely. I don't really need to keep this anymore. I just had to cover it on stream, and that's why it's all waiting here. We have a bunch of garbage here. You see all this kind of little stuff, and that comes from here. So you take a look on these kind of poles. These are from my workplace. These things come from my workplace. It's kind of like a label. I mentioned that we make PPE and safety equipment for other businesses. Long story short, that's kind of like a role for all the labels to print down the branding and the logos and so on and so forth. I won't get into too much detail because it's kind of confidential. But needless to say, I took home some of these, and I'm working really fast right now and speaking really fast. Gotta slow down. But time limits, you know. I cut off the notches here, and the reason why I did that is because I was drying. I mentioned my blankets, right? I did the laundry for those, so I need a place to hang it. The way I did this is I put two standing up, and of course I put one kind of sideways horizontally connecting those two, and I needed a notch. So I took a box cutter or utility knife and I just chipped away at it until I got that. So that's where that garbage here comes from, long story short, and I can throw that away at the end of this live stream, as well as all this food packaging nonsense. Now moving up, so this is D1 down here, D2 is up here, right? So we covered this mixture of paperwork and grocery items and trash and food. All right, moving up, we still have more stuff in D2. We have these gift related items from my workplace. These are gauze rolls. It comes from a supplier down in the States, and so very high quality stuff. Gauze rolls that, you know, if you get wounded and you start bleeding out, you know, this is something that would be very good for you to just package and wrap around with a band-aid. Not a band-aid, like a bandage, you know, coil it around. So this is stuff that was actually offered for free because they made the purchase already, and then we didn't want it anymore, and so they decided to just give us to employees, and I was really much appreciative of that. And so that's a class 4 item, like I said, because it's from caregivers, staff, and so on. And then underneath that, we have these two books here. These two books here from related to business materials, again in R&D, research and development, as well as molecular nutrition, this kind of stuff. 2 books based on one on the founder and one on the science and the patents. So that's stuff that are gifts. These 2 books here from my fellow business partner who actually helped me join in. And finally, some paperwork here, more garbage that I already cut up. And I'll talk more about that next time, because in the next live stream, because right now I can see the time limit's coming up short, and I gotta end it right here. So I'll see you in the next live stream in about maybe 15 minutes. Same platforms, you know where it is. Ahn Rho signing out. See you in about 15 minutes when we start covering the stuff down here, okay?